Hey, hey, hey. Hello, Lotus Bloom family and East Oakland family in general. Oakland family at large. Chef Sarah here from the Food Commonwealth, where wellness is the new black. Hanging out today with a couple of friends here in the backyard. And our goal today is to make some pasta. I love, love, love this sort of in-between time of year where you're starting to get yams out the ground. You're getting all of these like early winter vegetables. You got some kale, you've got some really young cabbage, and then you've got all of the end of summer happening. So you still got a few really raggy tomatoes that don't have a lot of pulp, but that are great for sauce making. You've got a wealth of herbs. You've got some winter greens still starting to come in. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the Castlemont Farm and Garden CSA box, which is over here. So from that bounty, from that wonderful table of produce, we're gonna grab some random things, probably some tomatoes, a couple pieces of okra, anything that just seems like you wouldn't put it in the marinara sauce. We're gonna grab it just for the heck of it, right? Because one of the amazing things about seasonal produce is that the things that are growing right now, for whatever magical reason, all tend to sort of just blend really lovely together. So we're gonna push that envelope a little bit, make a really colorful sauce. We're gonna get that butternut squash in there. Definitely some of those okra, that beautiful purple color will be dynamic. And I'm not sure about those carrots and beets. We might just juice that off, throw in a couple apples, make so that our cocktail. We'll figure it out as we go along. But we're definitely gonna get that broccoli in there, all of that basil. So let's get started. For our first pasta, we're gonna just do a basic pasta dough, right? Just simple, simple, simple. We've got some all-purpose flour, an egg, some olive oil, and a drop of water, right? We're gonna get all of that in. Your ratios are simple. It's 1 cup of flour to 1 egg to 1 tablespoon of oil, and you're just using enough water to get the mixture moving. I've been doing this so long, and y'all know that's true. I'm just gonna eyeball this here. We're gonna make a cup of pasta all the way around because we're gonna make 3 kinds of pasta. So when we're done, we're gonna have this really beautiful like melody of color on our plate. So we got our flour there, adding in 1 egg. Got my compost bag right down here. I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of salt. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna grab some water. I'm gonna grab a fork. Now, if you have kids at home, one of the best ways to do this, and this is how I learned to do it from our Italian neighbors, is to put it on a table, right? Take a measuring cup and create a mound, right? Take 3 cups or take 1 cup and break it into thirds, right? So you have a little mound, put your egg right in the middle, and you're gonna mix it like a little well, right? And as what's happening is as you're mixing the middle, all of the flour is getting in. Okay, so it's 1 cup of flour, 1 egg, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I think I misspoke before and said salt. You can put a pinch of salt in toward the end, but those ratios are 1 cup of flour, 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and then you're just sort of mixing it until all that gets in. And then again, you're just gonna put a drop of water in there just to get it all mixed together. And then we're gonna roll it out like Play-Doh. So that is it, right? We literally have just mixed it all together. Bowl is empty. We got our little ball of dough right here. We're gonna put that, best way to chill that, wrap it in some saran wrap or put it in a Ziploc bag, let it chill in the fridge for about 15 minutes, half hour is great. If you wanna do it early in the morning and then come back in the afternoon and roll it out for dinner, that's also a great way of doing it. But don't let it sit in the fridge more than a few hours because then it gets hard and unusable. It sort of becomes a dry ball of pasta on its own. I love potatoes. I love potatoes, I love rice. And when I first learned that you could have pasta as potatoes, right, they call it gnocchi, although it's spelled gnocchi, and that's how I said it for a long time until I met an Italian. Kind of how I used to say acai berries, and then I found out it was ICI or something like that. We live, we learn. All right, so this pasta, gnocchi, is basically the same pasta that we just made with the addition of a boiled potato. So what you do is you take a potato, just a regular potato. I like to poke some holes in it, give it a little bit of air, particularly if I'm gonna bake it or boil it. I think it just sort of helps it happen a little bit quicker. I've got a pot of boiling water right over here. You're gonna let that cook for about 15 to 20 minutes, right? What you want is you want it to be soft enough when it comes out of the water. I have one already here, where the fork can go right in and come out, right? Once that can happen, the other thing that happens quite magically is you can just pull off the skin with your thumbs, right? Another great way of getting your kids involved, right? That's something that, this was one of my favorite things to do with my granny when it came to Thanksgiving and mashing potatoes, was getting, she called them jackets. It's getting the jackets off the potatoes. Don't nobody want that in mashed potatoes to get all caught up in your teeth. It ain't pretty. But for our gnocchi, it really doesn't matter because we're gonna mix this with flour and boil it. But the fun of getting your hands dirty in that way hasn't changed. So the other thing that we wanna do, I keep a bowl of just basic like soap and water behind me because you wanna keep your hands clean as you go. Just you wanna keep your hands clean as you go. Not negotiable. All right, you can do this in a lot of ways, right? If you watch some YouTube videos or if you know any classic cooks in your family, folks are gonna wanna use a ricer, they're gonna wanna use a potato masher. Some folks want you to go get a food processor and get all of this like grating equipment. A fork works perfectly. What you wanna do is just get in there and hopefully shred the potato with the fork. Just kind of pull it out a little bit, right? And just kind of get it done. You're gonna do that until the potato is all shredded, right? You're not mashing it. You're kind of just literally flaking it off. And again, you're gonna go in and mix this with pasta. So you're not, it's not a finished dish. You don't want any chunks, right? And when it's finished, you kind of want to just get it in here with your flour, your egg, and your oil, just like you did the first batch. And it's going to look a little bit like this. Now, I have two kinds of potatoes today, right? Because one of the amazing things that was in that farm box was one of these purple yams. Also, just blanched it just like I did the Yukon Gold potato. I'm gonna treat it the same exact way, right? I'm gonna get that jacket off or the outer skin. I don't know if you can see that amazing purple color. Just leaving my hands purple. Apparently this yam is like packed with all kinds of amazing nutrients. I'm just sort of getting schooled on the umbe myself this year. Really very blessed and lucky about that process, I must tell you. So what we're gonna do with that is the same thing. We're gonna get this potato in here. I don't need as much as all that. Wash my hands. Same thing, I'm gonna use my fork. Get that all mashed up. Now in this one, I chose not to use an egg. We're gonna keep this pasta dough completely vegan. And so what we're using in lieu of an egg is some egg replacement. You can get this at the store. Lots of different companies make it. And basically what it is it's a combination of potato starches and other thickening agents. You mix 1 tablespoon of this dry mixture with 1 tablespoon of water. You let it set for a few minutes. It gives you that thickening agent, sort of an emulsifier. That's your egg content. So our umbe dough is completely vegan. And then we have our Yukon Gold potato dough, which is vegetarian, but it does have an egg in it. All right, so we're gonna continue on that. I'm gonna get my oil in here. Now I'm gonna add a pinch of salt to each of these, and I'm gonna mix them up. One of the things that like I totally loved as a kid, particularly working with my Aunt Bunny, was like this stuff, because you could just get messy and make a mess and it was okay. And oftentimes you could get away with not having to clean it up because they were ready for you to get out of the kitchen anyway. So you got to cook, eat, and watch TV without the dishes. Grown-ups don't get that kind of luck. All right, once you get to the point where you sort of can't do anything else with your fork, you're gonna get your hand in there. Again, we're gonna scrape all that content from around the bowl, kind of just like making pizza dough. You can add potatoes to your pizza dough, to your bread dough. Somebody makes a potato bread. I see it at the market on the shelf. It comes in like a dinner roll and like a bun. You can do that. You get that big 5-pound bag of potatoes and you got that 1 or 2 that's going soft before you can use them. Turn it into pasta. All right, so we've got our umbe dough right here. These potatoes are delicious. Now for our potato dough, the process is exactly the same. So we got our umbe dough done. We've got our Yukon Gold potatoes in here with our olive oil, our egg, our flour, and a little bit of salt. I'm going to continue mixing that. I need to add a little bit of water. All right, we are almost there. Dropping some of that out. And what you'll get, again, is another really big Play-Doh ball. So, I try to keep one hand clean, just in case I have to do stuff like grab some more flour. What you'll notice is that this is all stuck to my hand. A little bit of flour, not a lot. We'll take care of getting some of that off. Again, if you're working with little ones, this is when you get them to rub together. And all that comes off, right? This will allow us to get the rest of that potato that's stuck to the side of that bowl. All right. So there, just kind of very similar to pizza dough. We have our big ball of gnocchi dough. Gonna roll it in there one more time. Our classic pasta dough is still resting in the fridge. We've got our umbe dough right here. We've got our gnocchi dough right here. We're gonna take a moment, go grab some basil, some tomatoes, some okra, and probably some broccoli. Come back, do a really quick saute. Roll out this gnocchi dough, which is gonna take about 3 to 5 minutes to cook, and we'll have our first dish. I've got a skillet going here from our farm table. What I grabbed was 4 green tomatoes, 2 red tomatoes, a few stalks of celery, a bunch of green onions, 1 spring onion, and some okra. All right, we're gonna get all of that in here into a dry pan first. All right, we're gonna add some more basil on the finish just to get that really bright flavor. But for right now, we just wanna get this sauteing. And again, we have our tomatoes, our okra, basil, some onion. We're gonna let that do what it does. I'm gonna roll out our gnocchi and get it dropped in this water. And then what will happen is in the 10 to 15 minutes that it takes our gnocchi to go from that ball to an edible thingy, our sauce will have reduced. Then we'll get some olive oil and salt in there. We'll toss it all together and we'll see what it tastes like. So here you go. Simple and delicious, right? Using some things that you use every day, just not in the same way. This is Chef Sarah with the Food Commonwealth, where wellness is the new black. And until next time, eat well and be well.